Hello, gquat family. Welcome back. Actually, it has been 2 days. What happened is that I had extra ingredients left, so I made a second batch of chow chow, which was hot and spicy. But that required me chopping up a bunch more peppers. Before we get to it, let's just go back to this 8 generational recipe. Yesterday I talked about the 8th generation, the 7th, and some of the younger ones, but the 6th generation, the Queen Mom, which is my mom, just turned 90 years old and she's still giving advice and telling me what she can remember every day. So, gquat, gquat.com is the abbreviation for the name Garden, Quilt, and Art Traditions. That's a mouthful, so I've abbreviated it for those who are new, those who are coming back. GQuat is an abbreviation. Yesterday I called it an acronym. Same thing. It just means a shortened way of remembering it. It's GQUAT, and I do have a website up, gquat.com. So, the chow chow recipe, we've chopped up all of the ingredients there in the video, the last one from yesterday, but we did not talk about the brine. The brine is after you have chopped up all the ingredients and you left them in the fridge overnight. I actually left some 2 days. It's not that serious. The ingredients are not cut and dry. You use what you have. The cabbage, the peppers, the onions, these are just rough measurements. Everybody used what they had in the kitchen. So after you get the vegetables chopped up in the refrigerator, you go to the sink. The salt that you put on the day before, that is to draw all of the liquid out of the veggies. Not all of it, but a lot. You squeeze it out into the sink. Most of the salt will wash out along with the liquid in the vegetables. You squeeze that out. The recipe that I have says to not rinse it. However, I know some people are sensitive to salt. If that's the case, rinse yours. Rinse yours. Check with your doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a dietitian. But I'm just saying, use common sense. If you're not supposed to be using salt, salt is what aids the fermentation process. Just wash as much of the salt out as possible. Then you clean and sterilize the jars. You saw my jars on the counter. They had been in the oven at 180 degrees for 2 hours. They were warm and just sitting on the counter. To make the brine, you use, per recipe, 3 cups of white distilled vinegar. If you want, you can use apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, any vinegar you have or want. 3 cups of sugar. I use cane sugar. Why? Because I like cane sugar. 2 tablespoons of, no, we've already done that. 1 tablespoon of whole cloves. That's the little chunky things, and it looks real pretty in the jar. I've got a little, I wrote it down. Then you put 1 tablespoon of mustard seeds, 1 tablespoon of whole black peppercorns, 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard powder. We used to always see that ground mustard, in Mommy's cabinets when she was cooking. I always wondered what they used it for. And if you want, you can put a pinch of red pepper flakes and 1 bay leaf. You add the spices to the vinegar and the sugar in the saucepan, and you heat it up until it starts to simmer. Simmer it for about 10-15 minutes before you add your veggies to it. Bring your veggies that you chopped up to a boil, and then you simmer them for 15 minutes. You noticed in the previous video, the uncooked vegetables were a brighter green. When they were cooked, they were a dark green. And that's just about it for the chow chow. Now I made a couple of other notes of things I wanted to bring to your attention. Okay, well, that seems to be, oh, I did not use a water bath canner per se. I used a big pot, and I took some of the rings from the canning jars and I put them in the bottom, put them in the water on top. You can use whatever big pot you have. I don't have room for a big water bath canner. I am on overload here since I downsized. Again, I want to reiterate that the recipe is variable. We will be doing more canning. We always had so much food growing up. Everybody, all of our friends, there were 6 of us. We didn't have, as I was saying yesterday, we didn't grow things like turmeric. You can put that in the recipe. You can put ginger in there. Whatever little spices float your boat, rosemary, you can put that in it. This is your recipe. But going back to growing up, we used to go pick crab apples. They weren't good for eating, but guess what? Mommy made the best jelly. Our cellar in her house is made of stone, and it's always cool. It's always cool. She used it for canning, but when I grew up and came back home, when my parents didn't go down the basement anymore, that made the best wine cellar. I mentioned that I've been making wine for over 50 years as well. Boy, I could stash it down there. Nobody would ever find it. Okay, well, that's about it for today's video. That is, we have Southern Style Chow Chow. Any questions? You can send me an email, EllenPankey, ELLENPANKEY @gmail.com. Thank you for coming. Hit the thumbs up button. I'd like to have your subscription. Hit the notification bell, and you will know when I upload more videos. We will probably be doing a lot of arts and crafts over the winter because most of us will not be growing stuff indoors. Some of us will. Some of us will be canning stuff, brewing things, fermenting. Okay. American Sign Language. This is an I. This is an L. This is a U. This is I love you. Okay, family and friends. See you next time. Bye.